Hey, everybody, Dallas here. Welcome to the CrossFit Edwardsville Community Podcast, where today we are talking, about what?
3 strategies for staying fit through the holidays, the hardest part of the year to stay fit.
Boom.
Welcome to the CrossFit Edwardsville Community Podcast, where we hear and learn from our coaches, CrossFitters, and Glen Ed community leaders. Now, here are your hosts, Dallas and Greg.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the CrossFit Edwardsville Community Podcast. I have said that, bumbled over that twice now, but this is where we get to learn from our CFE coaches. We get to meet and learn some of our CFE CrossFitters and occasionally talk with some of our Glen Ed community leaders and business owners. As y'all know, I'm your co-host, Dallas Amston. I am your Communicate to Succeed coach, presentation and digital content consultant for business owners and entrepreneurs who really want to overcome brand obscurity, and I help them create clear messaging that amplifies their authority so they can convert more clients. And joined with me today, you all know him, you love him. He is the CEO, the founder, the owner, the chief engineer, all of the things. Coach Greg Skelly. Skell, how are you, my brother?
I'm good. I'm also the head Halloween nerd around here. My favorite holiday is coming up. I'm so excited for this weekend, but I'm also excited for all the holidays. I love Thanksgiving. I love Christmas. I love the holidays, man. I go all in on all of them. I don't ever ask you this question, Dallas. What is your favorite holiday and why?
You know, that's a great question. I haven't thought about that for a long time. There was a long period of time where I would have said Christmas, and that shifted to, I think, more Thanksgiving, because Thanksgiving was a little more relaxed. It was more sit around, hang with people. You know, I'm a football person.
Less pressure, right? Less pressure.
Well, and the other thing too was when we lived in California, Christmas was fly home, take our vacation days from work to fly home, sleep in foreign beds around different family members' homes. And it was like nonstop. And I would go home from vacation exhausted, quote unquote.
Sure.
But when we lived in LA, Thanksgiving became our holiday for my wife and I. And then as our firstborn and our secondborn came along, it was like, what do we want to do? Let's go for a walk. Let's go to the park and play. All of a sudden, the pace of Thanksgiving really slowed down.
Sure.
And I found myself being able to exercise more gratitude during that.
Right.
The other interesting thing was nothing in LA shuts down for Christmas. Everything shuts down for Thanksgiving.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's fascinating.
Yeah. There's large portions of the city and county of people who culturally don't celebrate Christmas. You know, Japanese culture doesn't celebrate that. Jewish culture doesn't celebrate that. So there were restaurants open. There were all of these things open there that during Christmas you'd go, oh, this is intriguing. It's kind of feels like a shift. But in Thanksgiving, everything was closing by 3 or 4 in the afternoon. So it was like even the city slowed down, which was really nice.
Sure.
And I'd probably say Thanksgiving, and not even for the food. I'd say it's more for the pace.
Yeah. Well, I know this.
That was a long answer, wasn't it?
No, it's great. I just learned something about you and about LA. And you know what I think is true for all of us, regardless of whatever holiday is our favorite, is that we all acknowledge that our usual rituals, our usual patterns, our usual lifestyle can be totally hijacked. And that's doubly true for our health and our fitness.
Yeah.
You know, we all know that health and fitness should always be a high priority for us, but it's super easy for that to kind of fall off the radar.
Yeah.
Or fall from top of mind as we go into the winter months. And, you know, for a lot of us, myself, you, Dallas, all of our CrossFitters, maybe some of the audience out there that's not yet part of our CrossFit community, like you've been doing some fitness things and you've made some progress, you've made some gains. And even if you can't necessarily do the same stuff in the same way over the winter, over the holidays that you have been, you probably want to maintain as much of your gains as possible, keep as much of the progress you've made as possible. And the good news is that there are strategies that we can do to keep as much fitness as possible so that when January arrives, we're not starting from scratch and we're
Right.
not feeling like shit. Because it's
Yeah.
super, super easy for the holidays to get us like completely wreck everything for us if we
Sure.
let it.
Well, I saw someone posted a meme just recently, and it might have been in our VIP community. I can't recall, but it was with Halloween coming up, we have a candy holiday, followed
Yeah.
by a pie holiday,
Yeah.
followed by a cookie holiday, followed by a booze raging holiday. And we
Yeah.
wonder why we call it flu season when
Oh
in
yeah.
fact it's just sugar addiction season.
Yeah, it can be a hot mess, but like
Right.
no judgment. Like if you know that you have historically always struggled with the holidays, hopefully we can help give you an intelligent strategy or two
Yeah.
for approaching these seasons. This season, what are we going to call it?
Yeah, and so that's what we're going to chat about here for the next little bit here. G, we're going to talk about 3 strategies to stay
Mhm.
fit before the new year arrives, because so many people, like you said just a minute ago, they come at January 1 like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this, and you're sitting here as a
Yeah,
coach and you know over the years, hey, that's not realistic.
sure.
What can we do
And
to get the momentum ball rolling before the new year ball drops?
right. And as we go into this too, I just want to preface this by saying that uh, these 3 strategies are for different people generally, especially the first 2. They're for
Yeah,
different people that have different mind spaces, different styles. Because,
yeah,
for some people, strategy 1 will work really, really well, depending on what resonates with you, that like your, how drawn you are to extremes. And then strategy 2 may appeal to you more. They are very different approaches, but for the right person, they work really, really well.
yeah, for sure. Well, let's hop into it then. So, uh, talk to me, G, about number 1. What's strategy number 1 to stay fit before the new year arrives?
Yeah. So the shortest way I describe this is going on cruise control,
Mhm.
right? And what this is accepting that there's going to be a lot of demands on your time, a lot of demands on your energy, your focus in the next few months, which is going to pull some of your energy away from your fitness.
Sure.
But as CrossFitters, as athletes, as people that want to still have our health, our vibrance, our energy, then it can be wise to say, okay, for the next few months, I'm not thinking about setting PRs. I'm not thinking about setting a personal best in anything. I'm gonna identify what is my minimum viable action.
Sure.
What can I do each week that will fit into this new season, but also let me maintain some forward momentum? Because when you get to January or any month, this is always true. It
Yeah.
is much, much easier to go from this is all this is figuratively speaking,
Yeah.
it's much, much easier to go from 10 miles an hour to 60 miles an hour or from 30 miles an hour to 60 miles an hour than it is to go from 0 miles
0.
an hour to 60,
Right.
right? Having any kind of forward progress, any kind of forward movement is going to be a better outcome
Yeah.
and lead to better long-term success. So case in point, right? Maybe you're a 5 times a week exerciser now, and you may just accept, you know what, for the next few months, I'm going to be 3 times a week. I'll be Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Sure.
I'll reallocate the rest of that time to going out and living my best life, being, available for more holiday events,
Yeah.
more family events, going out and doing the Christmas shopping, doing the Black Friday sales, whatever it is, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
you consciously decide that I'm going to downshift how much I'm putting on fitness,
Yeah.
but I'm going to be holding ground there. I'm
Yeah.
going to do at least this much minimum, right? And then related with your nutrition, okay, what is my minimum viable option, right?
Mhm.
Maybe you're holding like a really strict nutrition plan now. If you are, maybe you just said, okay, in the coming weeks, I'm going to have 2 days that are cheat days for me every
Yeah.
single week. I have one day that's going to be a cheat day for me every single week. And that gives me some flexibility to be able to still participate in events with my family, my friends, enjoy all the holiday season has to offer, which we should. We should be living our best lives,
Right.
enjoying these seasons, with a little less pressure on ourselves to have to hold that same standard. The
Yeah.
general theme is our standard, maybe our usual standard of action is here. Maybe
Yeah.
we very purposefully and consciously say, I'm bringing it to here. I am thinking ahead, though. I am making a plan. It's not
Right.
like an accident. I'm not going to just wing it and see what happens. I'm
Sure.
very intentionally saying, taking my foot off the gas pedal. I'm saying I'm going to hold 15 miles an hour. I'm going to be there 3 times a week instead of 6.
Right.
But I'm going to do that minimum religiously so that when January arrives, it's not an impossibly difficult task to get
Right.
into the gym. It's not terrifying to get back into the gym, because
Right.
the danger in all of this is we fall off the wagon in October, November, December, and we tell ourselves January will be easier, but then January arrives
Right.
and psychologically there's a huge barrier. Like I'm not half the athlete that I was. I've gained
Yeah.
15, 20 pounds, and I feel ashamed about that. I'm scared to go back in the gym and have all my gym friends see that I'm not in shape anymore or whatever, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
scared of going to the
Well,
gym, having all these strange people looking at me funny. I feel like I'm being judged, like whatever it is, like it can be a real hurdle to go from
right.
0 to 60. Don't let that happen.
Yeah.
And
And
Dallas, you
I
know
would
that
add to
too.
that too, the idea of when January comes around, number one, there is a post-holiday, lack of a better word, post-holiday lull or post-holiday hangover. Not
Sure.
not literal, maybe literal on January 1,
Oh, for sure, it's
but
literal.
proverbial, like, hey, I've come down now from 2.5 months of parties, events, of this and that, but and so there's like this social lull that happens, as well as it's the coldest, darkest month of the year. So then all of a
Yeah,
sudden it's like not only the mental hurdles that you just said there are literally physiological and seasonal issues
yeah,
occurring as well, besides just the mental things. So having a little bit of that momentum ball rolling leading into that. And I mean, gee, you and I'll show full transparency on this podcast. We had a conversation yesterday about this as we were like, Dallas, what can you do? For those of you who don't know, I've got a big extra thing of my business launching here in the first part of November. And with the leadership and presentation side of my business, as I'm launching that, it seems like everything's crunch time. So when G and I had our scheduled time to talk about, hey, what's the rest of the year? What's Q4 look like for you in your fitness
right,
and nutrition? I just
right.
flat out was like, dude, I'm exhausted right now.
Yeah,
And so that we had a very similar offline conversation about this just yesterday, everybody, where G was encouraging me, all right, let's go to minimal mode. It's not
yeah,
the old Spaceball reference. It's not ludicrous speed, but
yeah.
what can we do to pull back so that you don't overshoot your goals and then feel
Sure.
disappointed that you never attained unrealistic goals? And
Right,
then don't shift all the way to nothing because you've got another priority right now.
right.
That's what's going to happen with our holidays is we're going to have a lot of other priorities, but we can't go into neutral, because
Correct.
neutral, if you're on the hill, if you go into neutral, you're
You're
still going to roll
sliding.
backwards.
Well, yeah, and there's something to be said too that your ability to fully enjoy the holiday is a function of what energy levels you have,
Yeah,
right? And if your eating is completely off the rails, your energy is going to be shot.
right.
If you're doing no physical activity, your energy is going to be shot, and you'll find yourself going through those peaks and valleys where like you eat some food, you have energy for 30 minutes and you feel like hell afterward. Like your whole holiday experience could actually be compromised by fully falling off the wagon.
Yeah.
And so, just one strategy that we had discussed, because I know, and hopefully, Dallas, you don't mind me sharing, like
No,
your ideal day, you've got a block of 60, 90 minutes, 2 hours where you'd be all fitness, right? You'd be fitnessing hard,
ideally,
right?
yeah. That's not realistic at the moment.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be realistic all year long, right? We say
Right.
like we know that in your ideal day, you spend this much time with networking, this much time with work, this much time with family, this much time on fitness, right? But we said it is okay to
Yeah.
say, you know what? 6 days a week, I'm giving 10 minutes. I got 10 minutes to give.
Yeah.
And even that, like that 10 minutes, you'll feel so much better, not just physically in terms of like your energy level, but just like psychologically, how a person feels about themselves can
Yeah.
be so elevated by that. Like you just get this feel good sensation. It improves your relationship with yourself.
Yeah.
Even just 10 minutes. You know what? Today I got 10 minutes. I got no time to warm up before my next Zoom meeting. But you know what? I'm just going to do for 10 minutes. I'm going to do as many sit ups and as many air squats as I can.
Yep.
And you know what? In this season, that could totally be enough to do the job. That cruise control is fine. It
Right.
will work, and it'll
Right.
take you into January still with some good forward momentum, some good
Sure.
forward progress.
Sure. So that's good. So that's strategy number one is everybody, what would be cruise control for you?
Yeah.
Strategy number two, a little more extreme. G, talk to me about strategy number two here.
Yeah, and strategy number two is when maybe you identify some group or organization that's running a challenge.
Yep.
Some examples, some famous examples in our community here, like the Supplement Superstore's Andy Frizella 75 Hard Challenge, or
Yeah.
variations, a 30 hard
Right.
challenge. So many people,
Too hard, 4 day hard challenges.
4 day
Never
hard, right?
five
But
hard.
yeah, so this, by the way, like this strategy I'm about to describe is for an entirely different psychology, right?
Right.
First person, like cruise control, is the kind of person that just recognizes I am not going to go hard in the paint with my fitness for the next few months. Just not going to happen, right? I've
Yeah.
got too many balls in the air. But with this strategy, some people, if they know they've got a challenge, some kind of kickstart thing that they're doing, that really gets their energy levels up, and they love the idea of being a part of a challenge for the
Yep.
next 30 days from now until Thanksgiving, from Thanksgiving until Christmas, right? Like these short burst, high intensity efforts
Yep.
that they get to their. So, if you do like a 75 hard, this is something where you would do like 2 workouts a day. One has to be outside. You got to eat
Right.
no cheat meals whatsoever, no alcohol. You read 10 pages of
Right.
self-development literature every single day. I forget what the other
Drink a gallon of water a day.
drink a gallon of water every day, right? Now, if your psychology is such that you really thrive on extremes,
Yeah.
if you thrive on intensity and having like the energy of a 15-day sprint to 30-day sprint, you can capitalize on that. And what's cool is that, like we mentioned already, like a 75 hard, you don't have to do it for 75 days. You do it for 20 days,
Right.
right? You say that between November 26th and December 24th, I'm going to be the most rock star clean eater, going to get
Right.
all my sleep, going to drink all my water, and be perfect on all those days. I'm going to blow it out on Christmas. You know
Sure.
what I mean?
Sure.
That's an entirely viable strategy that I think a lot of people might consider, especially in our CrossFit space.
Right.
So many of our CrossFitters like are Enneagram 3, achievement oriented, like do
Yeah.
the big, wild, dramatic thing that calls attention to ourselves. Related to this, like if you know about the Enneagram, I've noticed there's a disproportionately high number of threes in CrossFit worlds. But like if you're drawn to that sort of mind space, capitalize on that
Yeah.
for the next few months, or
Yeah.
even just like putting small challenges in between the holidays.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, there are other challenges too. I mean, we've got CrossFitters training for the next Spartan race. We've got people going
Right.
for a New Year's marathon. I mean, there's lots of things that you can do. There's so many holiday fundraiser 5Ks, 10Ks, et cetera, Ks that you could sign
Yes.
up for as well. And all of those, that really is, I think, a good way to think of it, G, is for some people, that mindset of, no, I'm going to sprint to this target. I'm going to sprint to this particular goal. That could be a huge driver for them through the holidays. So yeah, sign up for a
Absolutely.
challenge. That's number two.
Or a
Um,
competition or a race
yep.
or a whatever.
Yep. So what would strategy number three be then? So we've got number one, cruise control. Number two, sign up for some kind of fitness, nutrition, competition challenge
Right.
/ go hard. What would number three here be, G?
Absolutely. Number three is a good idea for everybody, regardless of your psychology. And that is to think and plan ahead weekly. I hate to fall back on truisms or, but if you are not planning ahead.
Yeah.
If you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. Like if you have no plan at all for this upcoming 3 months this season, it's gonna be a shit show.
Right.
The train will hit a penny on the rails and jump the tracks. It's gonna be a mess. There's a reason that so many people take so many steps back in their fitness over the next few months, the October, November, December of the year, right? It is it's ridiculously arrogant and egotistical to say, I am the exception. I'm going to go no plan. Everything's going to work out. No, it's not. And so the only intelligent approach is to be thinking ahead and planning ahead. So for example, what that might look like, right? All right, I'm going to be with my family on Thanksgiving and the day after for Black Friday. We are bringing food to this feast. I can bring these two dishes that I love that are more on plan for me so that I have options. I don't have to be at the mercy of whatever everybody else brings to the thing, right? Maybe you're the kind of person who loves to cook. Maybe you just raise your hand, you volunteer. Hey, at the Christmas thing I'm doing with my mom's side of the family, I'm going to be the person to make the foods. And that kind of lets me guarantee that I've got some stuff that's on plan for me, right? Maybe your plan is Thanksgiving week, I'm eating extremely on plan, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm just going to let whatever happen. As of Friday morning, I am back on track. That is my plan, right?
Yeah.
But without a plan, you should fully expect catastrophe. There has to be a plan. All the people that we know who succeed at a high level with their health and their fitness, they're very intentional about looking to the week ahead and seeing what are the pitfalls, what are the threats that looked to knock me off of my game, right? And you know what they are. Like you know what they are. I'd bet money that Dallas could look like right now. We're coming up on Halloween. I bet money Dallas already knows when Thanksgiving comes around. When I'm in these places, I'm at risk. When I'm with these people, there's a high likelihood that my nutrition is going to falter. Is this true?
Yeah, for
like
sure.
You know, right? You probably already know what the dangers are. You should be thinking ahead and proactively creating a map. How do I navigate these challenges so that I can still be making forward progress?
Yeah, for sure. And I think, I love to plan. What's so interesting for many people, and I'm going to use myself as the example here, but we plan strategically our work, the projects we have coming up, the meetings we've got going on,
the
like
holiday events themselves.
The holiday events themselves. And honestly, most holiday events, people are already saying, hey, what are you guys bringing to Thanksgiving? Like, because the menus are already being planned. So there's enough of this dish and enough of that dish. What's funny is with my wife's side of the family, the staple the last 2 years for us to bring has been roasted Brussels sprouts and sweet potatoes and bacon and onion mix. And that's just our go-to is, hey, everybody, we've got the Brussels and the bacon sweet potatoes. So we love crushing those because those are two of my favorite things to eat right now. But people are thinking through all these things to the point, though, back to the professional side of life. We plan all of these elements of our world so that our work days can go strategically well, and that we don't go, boy, I have no idea where that Thursday went. It was just spent on emails and responses. And you'll hear it the way people say it when they haven't planned appropriately. They'll say, I felt like I was just pushing papers or piles around, or I was putting out fires all day. And
living reactively is a terrible way to live. You want to live on purpose.
Exactly. So take that same principle. I don't want to put out fires in my business all day, and I don't want to respond to email all day. I don't want to be in reactive mode. I want to be in proactive mode. How do I do that in my fitness during the holidays? How do I do that in my nutrition? How do I not go to where I'm like, oh crap, now I got to just put out fires because I've eaten horribly the last week.
And also, I want to throw this out to all the people who are CrossFitters in our community now. Something that you guys should know, just in case you don't, if you know you're traveling and you need some travel-friendly workouts, holler at us. We've got those workouts. We'll send them to you for no
Yeah.
charge. Or if you're going to be in a place where you won't have a gym, you need some all body weight workouts you can do at a friend's house, at your mom's house, your dad's house. Text us. We'll send them to you for no charge. We have those workouts written
Yeah.
for you. Like we already know that one of the curveballs we all have to deal with is having to do fitness differently than our usual gym routine.
Sure.
We have the solution. If you're one of our CFE CrossFitters, just holler at us. Let us know, hey, you're going to be in Boise, Idaho for 2 weeks and you need a body weight only exercise program. We will send it to you. Just give us a shout. We're here for you guys.
Yep. And we actually, just a few episodes ago, we covered that, just a couple of at-home fitness things, depending on
Check
if
that
you can't get to
podcast.
the gym. Yeah. So I'm, plugging the CFE podcast. Well, G, this was great. So again, everybody, just to review these kind of 3 things that we talked about today is number 1, and 3 strategies to stay fit before the new year arrives. Again, I kind of made this joke earlier. I'm going to say it again. Keep the ball rolling in the momentum so that you don't have to pick it up after the ball drops in January 1. So number 1, go on cruise control for a few months. Something is better than nothing. Number 2, you can sign up for a challenge, a fitness, nutrition, competition, whatever that might be. Or number 3, as we were talking about, and this works for either 1 or 2 as well, is think and plan ahead. Don't leave anything to chance. Be proactive. Those are all great things. So, G, thank you for this conversation. And we hit on a lot of things there. Everybody, as you always know, you can go to CrossFitEdwardsville.com. That is a great way to reach out to us. But G, if they're new to CrossFit Edwardsville, new to CrossFit in general, and they want to learn a little bit more about who we are, what we do, etc., give us some other things other than just going to the CFE website.
Yeah, Google CrossFit Edwardsville. Read our Google reviews. Find us on Facebook. Read our Facebook reviews. Read our Yelp reviews. Like you can learn a lot about us by checking us out, peeping the social media on Instagram or Facebook. Check that out. You can learn a lot about us. It's sort of like proverbial, like looking in the windows of CFE to see what's going on. And when you're ready, when you're like, you know what, I want to learn more about what my CrossFit journey looks like, go to CrossFitEdwardsville.com and sign up for a no sweat conversation with a coach, low key phone call with one of our coaching staff. We'd love to talk about what your unique fitness journey looks like going forward.
Yeah, that's awesome. So again, everybody, that button on that website is huge. It says book a no sweat conversation. You can't miss it. And that's at CrossFitEdwardsville.com. So G, thank you again for these strategies. And everybody, we will see you in the next round. Until then, my friends, as I always like to say, have a championship day.